And welcome to the latest edition of the 941 Sports Zone. It's episode 28, little later than usual on a Monday evening as we come live. But, obviously, if you take us in recorded, it's going to be the same as always. I'm Spitz. I could have predicted this. March Madness Masoni in the house. It is March. And if there is March, there must be madness. And there's going to be. It's going to be unbelievable.
You get it quick because you start watching these games. And I'm enjoying a little bit different approach to college basketball this year. I'm enjoying catching the St. John's games and the some teams where the Big East was really prevalent. You're still seeing some great ball. I love the whole atmosphere. St. John's, Villanova at the Garden. Garden looked rocking. Patina was rocking that white suit of his, whatever, or beige or whatever kind of color that was. I was enjoying that, and I'm enjoying that. When the rivalries get going, or not some rivalries, but in the conferences where teams are playing each other, and it's spirited, a little bit of a little chippy. Kind of brings you back to the days where, man, it meant a lot to get to the seedings in the conference championship, so you get the guaranteed bid. So a lot of that seems like it just feels like it has that vibe to it. Florida, Arkansas was chippy. Arkansas didn't like Florida getting a little too animated with some of their hijinks.
They didn't like getting their ass kicked.
Well,
that was let's go out back, and I'm going to take boot to ass.
Well, Calipari didn't like it. But I think he also knows that he can't lose that team right now. It was almost a 40-point shellacking, and you look at that and you say you only got 2 games to get right, and then if you go into the conference championship and you lay an egg, and then you got to go you get a 9 seed or something along those lines, and you're fighting your way from behind. It's a tough road to toe. He's been down that road enough to understand that.
Yes, he has. And he's beaten 1 seeds before.
Yeah.
Anyway, I had college basketball at the top, and then the NFL earlier today said, hold my beer. So we're going to actually start with the NFL, but we're always going to start with the folks who help bring you the 941 Sports Zone, and that's the good folks at Mighty Dog Roofing of Southwest Florida. Locally owned, nationally backed, delivering exceptional roofing for homes and businesses up and down the Gulf Coast. 941-251-4257 is the number. 941-251-4257. John, how much of the Combine did you watch?
I watched almost every unit of, like the D tackle, D line, whatever, but for certain moments in time, if you want to call it that. I was definitely channel surfing, popping in, watching a few things, popping in, watching a few things. I know there was a lot of standout athleticism, let's call it, instead of not football stuff, but athleticism out there. But didn't come away from it feeling that I was more interested in one player than what their highlight film from their college career might make for them. I get it that they're gonna. Now guys are expected to run 4.3 something or others and that kind of things. But I get the purpose of it all. But it's a hard watch when you're getting into the second session of 40s with 360-pound linemen trying to run the 40. So it can be a tough watch. But you did see some pretty great athleticism this weekend.
You saw it. I didn't see a second. Yeah. I watched highlights. I listened to snippets. I read stories. Probably the biggest one is Talon Green out of Arkansas, the quarterback, who ran a 4.36 40. Yeah, and that kind of is understandable. Arkansas's offensive line was terrible. He's running for his life all year.
Right.
He broke many of Anthony Richardson's combine records, including the vertical jump. He's almost 6'6", 227 pounds. And I mentioned Anthony Richardson because buyer beware, because he broke all of Richardson's records, and Richardson was a darling at the combine, and now he's looking for a place to be a backup. So,
Great.
as much as I'd like to give, Taylor Green all kinds of credit, um, if he gets drafted any higher than day 3, I'm going to be shocked.
It means nothing. In regards to, again, you're going to be a trivia question kind of guy at this point. If this is where it takes it, but put a football in his hand and watch him throw. And I'm not saying him in particular, but anybody else does that. And you throw a ball behind a guy, over a guy's head on a 15-yard out, not putting it right in a spot. That right there. That should negate in a lot of ways what kind of athlete he is. Guy like him, I know you want to be a quarterback, right? But you also know that there's money to be made in the NFL. And all those measurables with him, size, speed, no, I would say as a quarterback, he probably has a really good knowledge of the game, knowing where he's supposed to be and what be. I don't know if you don't go out and say, look, guys, I get it. Maybe I'm not a pro quarterback, but I can sure as hell run patterns for you, try to catch the ball. I know that's hard for a lot of these guys to say, especially now that he has something he can sort of sell to these teams. But that stat line would be great if it was the number 1 receiver in the draft. You'd be all drooling over
tight end,
6'6", 4'3", 640. All that stuff that you would want in a guy. Can he catch a football? That would be the only question with that situation. But I'm sure he'll get a shake at it. That's a guy that depending on what kind of team you are, what status you have in regards to where you can maybe take a reach on a 4th or 5th round guy. I could see a team saying, okay, let's see what you got. Because if you are the deal and you steal somebody in the 4th or 5th round who can be a bigger, stronger, whatever, Lamar Jackson, that could be the steal of the draft. But again, at this point, knowing what the combine brings, it's right now it's nothing but window dressing at this point.
And we'll see how it goes. See how far he rockets up, because the quarterback class is weak. It's extremely weak. And does somebody maybe on day 2 take a flyer? I don't know. I would be very, very leery, especially since every time you talk about something he did, he broke the record of a guy who currently has a 51% completion percentage.
Oh yeah.
And Indianapolis has basically said, yeah, go find a trade partner. We'll entertain anything. We'll trade you for a bag of footballs right now. So yeah.
Absolutely.
Anyway.
And so who may take a reach on him? Maybe Baltimore. You got Lamar. You built this offensive around a guy who could run the ball a little bit. Maybe that's where maybe that kind of a team. Somebody who's got a similar situation where maybe they can plug him in to be able to be athletic at that position. But
Kansas City?
Yeah. Great coaches make players get the most out of players.
True.
So you find a coach, an offensive-minded coach who can sort of think his way around certain things. But again, style means a lot with that kind of a quarterback. So 4.36 doesn't what did Tom Brady run? 5.2, whatever he did. So the results.
He timed him with a sundial,
yeah.
And he's going to walk into Canton in a year or two. So,
yeah, there's no doubt.
Exactly. Means absolutely nothing, and he could throw a ball very well in a t-shirt and shorts. That's great.
Yep. Yeah.
Anyway,
that's it. No doubt.
All right. Some things that are happening, which kind of blows me away in a sense, because technically, the tampering period doesn't begin until noon on Monday. Wink, wink.
Yeah.
And the legal tampering, if you will, and then of course nothing can happen before the start of the league year, which is 4 p.m. Eastern time on the 11th. However, if you have your own guys and you're trying to trade them, that's something completely different.
Sure.
And sources by sources, I mean the Tom Pelissaros and Adam Schefters of the world have said that the Texans are trading right tackle Titus Howard to the Cleveland Browns for a 5th round pick. And then Houston went out and got running back David Montgomery from Detroit for offensive lineman Juice Scruggs and a 4th and a 7th. Now that's an interesting trade. Obviously Montgomery had to go, and there's some word for the Lions to get cap compliant that Gibbs might have to go. I find that hard to believe, but
if that happens, that guy won't last 5 seconds in free agency. There's no, and if that's one of those guys that lands somewhere and he's going to pick. He has his choice where he wants to go at that point.
But I think Montgomery's a good pickup for the Texans. They've got a decent offensive line. They've got Nick Chubb there. I'm trying. Harris, I think, is their other running back. Those guys are all right, but a David Montgomery could definitely make them much more dynamic.
Joe Mixon,
we forgot about him.
And and so Montgomery obviously didn't want to share the load, or at least he wanted to get more than half the carries. And Detroit, that wasn't going to happen. Jahmyr Gibbs has showed to be a premier running back, but David Montgomery is going to do really well. Houston's their style of play, it suits him. They'll give him the ball 25 times a game and won't blink. I can promise you that. Anything that helps CJ Stroud.
Thank you.
For him throwing the ball more than 18 times a game or something. Yeah.
Yeah.
At this point. And it's funny. I didn't see CJ Stroud that first year coming out of college. I didn't think he would be as good as he was. Now I'm seeing what I thought he would be from day one, which is a quarterback who will struggle throughout his career. I didn't think he was that guy. And I think now once he got acclimated into the NFL and they started throwing a bunch of stuff at him, he still hasn't caught up with it. I think he still struggles with defenses.
There's going to be another from everything that's being reported. There's going to be another big time running back on the market. Aaron Jones has been informed by the Vikings that he's going to be released. The Vikings are way over the cap, so they're making some moves. So that's that's of course if he's not traded. But why would you trade for somebody that's going to be released unless you're a really good team and you know that he'll get scooped up before you get a chance? So this should be an interesting deal. And Jones, in my opinion, has plenty of tread left on the tires. I mean, he had some pretty good years in Green Bay, but I wouldn't call him overused. That's for sure. Whoever picks him up, I think, is going to definitely move up.
Oh, I agree. It's funny, how let's say you mentioned Minnesota, and I thought to myself, what happened there? I mean, they seemed like they were a team on the rise and heading fast, Super Bowl contenders, and didn't quite work out with the quarterback situation. How important that
there you go. That's what happened, John. That's right. Exactly what happened.
Aaron Jones was dinged up a little bit last year. You put some money into things because you thought you were going to make a run at a Super Bowl, and now it looks like you're just a team that's over the cap with no quarterback, and you're getting rid of your running back. But how quickly? Because this all started happening in September. And here we are now. The season's over, grant you, and we're in March. And Minnesota looks like a team that's on the rebuild, from a team that looked like they needed one more piece to the puzzle to be great. And so it's really that one right there surprises me immensely. But
they're way over the cap again.
When you go all in on that cap deal, and you're trying to get you're looking to cash in on your champion on a championship run, and it all falls to pieces. Boy, it does not look good at all. It really doesn't. So Minnesota may be one of those teams that we're talking about next year, drafting another quarterback to try to take over where J.J. McCarthy couldn't.
Yeah, because they only had the quarterback that ended up winning the Super Bowl, Sam Darnold, and it cost their GM his job. Let's face it. He goes and has the success in Seattle, and they struggled with McCarthy, and the Vikings say we've got to do something different. So those decisions are not, taken lightly. And when you get shown up like that, owners don't take too kindly to that. That's
if you're the GM of a team, let's just put it. I mean, and just whatever, just the Venice Warriors, whatever. You're the GM, right? Mm-hmm. And you draft a guy high because you think he's going to be he has a high upside potential, and it's a quarterback, right? But you have a guy in your team that you picked up and just is performing at a super high level. Why can't you have both? I mean, why would you want to throw one way? Because quarterback, guys are paying $50-60 million a year now for quarterbacks. You got a rookie coming in on a rookie contract and a journeyman guy who's got a decent salary, but maybe not something over the top.
He signed for 300-400. Yeah.
Why would you not keep Darnold in that situation and let McCarthy grow? It doesn't make any sense. Oh, I want to be right quicker. I mean, I don't know what it is. So I have no sympathy for a general manager who does something like that and then wants to play the ego card and say, I'm the guy, this is the guy I picked. This is who I want. And then you end up on the unemployment line. It makes no sense to me. I'd like to have 3 good quarterbacks. What's the difference? I know money is the issue, obviously, but in their case, it wasn't.
Right. Chiefs have also told right tackle Jawan Taylor he's going to be cut because, again, Chiefs are over the cap. Of course, they're going to redo Patrick Mahomes' contract yet again, and I'm sure that's going to save them money. But there you go, kicking it down the road. Eventually, that bill becomes paid, and I could see Andy Reid maybe another year or two, and then he sees the bills and he says, adios. So the Chiefs their window could be closing pretty quickly, especially if Mahomes doesn't come back from that torn ACL.
Right.
Let's bring
Jawan Taylor, Rich, real quick. He's the only guy I've so far since been doing this where the minute you said his name, I gave him a middle of the like a nickname, the middle name there. He went Jawan. I thought about 3 things. Jawan. I am lined up in the backfield.
That's right.
Jawan, illegal formation, Taylor.
Yeah.
He couldn't. I mean, he was trying every way possible to get an advantage on some of those guys coming at him because he didn't want Patrick Mahomes to get hurt. And he was lining up what was he getting? 3, 4, 5, 6 penalties a game in some cases. He struggled. So I'm sure somebody will want him. He might be a guy you slide down to the guard position and just give a big guy with a big butt up there and just pushing people around because left tackle was not his forte.
Yeah. Marshawn Lattimore was learned late on Monday as we record, also going to be let go by the Commanders. They're going to save about $18.5 million. The oldest team in the NFL. Boy, they went from the penthouse to the outhouse real quick with Jaden Daniels having all kinds of injuries last year. They shut him down. I thought that was the right decision.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
Shut him down. But they've got to start to try to get younger. So Lattimore is going to let go. We've got a little bit of a local issue here, and of course that's with wide receiver Mike Evans, who's played every down in his NFL career in Tampa. The Bucs have a decision to make, and they've, as you watch this, it's going to be about a week to make it. Do they tag him and pay him $20 to $25 million? Bucs aren't exactly rolling in cash as far as the cap goes. They've got some decisions to make. Or do they let him actually test out free agency? A lot of people think he could end up in Houston, considering he went to Texas A&M and is from Galveston. So a lot of people feel that it's either going to be that, or does he want to do what a lot of Bucs have done, which is play their entire career in Tampa, the Derek Brookses, the Levante Davids, et cetera, at all. And it's not like, Evans travels back and forth to Texas. He has put down roots in Tampa. He lives in Tampa.
Right.
His foundation is in Tampa. He is beloved. This is going to be quite the decision for Mike Evans.
I will tell you this: if you're looking at it from Todd Light's perspective, okay, it is Todd Light, right? Or is it Jason Light? Todd Light was a D back. I knew I was making a little mistake there. Mike Evans is, you've been picking up pieces in the wide receiving core the last couple of years with the intention that Mike Evans was leaving at some point in time. Mike Evans be a retirement injury or there's the door kind of moment for him go to free agency. So I think that at this point the Buccaneers would be, if that was their plan, and that's what it seems like it was, let him go, see what happens. How many games did he play last year? 6.
Not many.
7?
Yeah.
So you're looking at some money in there. There's an injury scenario there. Does he take the top off the defense anymore? Maybe not. So you sometimes it's like you don't want to see that happen. I know it's a sentimental to a lot of Buccaneer fans and even probably some of the people in the organization, but I think it's time to go and let him see where he lands. And Evans Evans says, "Look, guys, I don't want to go. What can we do? You know what I mean? I've made my
discount time.
This is for me to solidify my Hall of Fame status. I'll be a Ring of Honor guy. Let's see what we can do. I'll be the 5th receiver. I'm not playing special teams, but I'll get out there and give you 50 catches and maybe 7 touchdowns, something along those lines. And let's see where and I'll teach these young guys how to do it the right way. But I don't know. It's a guy who can think that way and then go and do it. There's something to be applauded if that's what he does.
Yep. I totally agree with you. And listen, a lifelong Bucs fan since they came into existence in 1976, endured the first 26 games while living in New York and being absolutely ridiculed. Would I love to see him retire as a Buck? Yes. And that would include if he decides that he's played his last down.
Yeah.
I would be okay with that.
Yeah.
I know he doesn't want to go out. This last year was the only year he didn't catch for 1,000 yards. Had some pretty serious injuries. He's getting up there in years. Never really took the top off the defense, John, but he's a great route runner and he can damn sure catch the ball still. But I think the Bucs are going to end up throwing it in his lap, like you say, and I think he's got a decision to make.
Rich,
he's going to get one more 20.
Go ahead. Oh
no, please.
What was the injury last year or something that he struggled with? Was it hamstring?
It's always a hammy. But the big one was in the Detroit game. Remember when he was had a concussion and also broke his collarbone?
Yeah,
on that almost catch.
But the hammy bothers me more than anything because broken collarbones are something you can't prevent, so to speak.
Right.
And this has been a chronic thing with him as he's getting older. So you've got to think that he's only going to get you so many reps at this point. But again, if he's willing to, it's going to come out of dollars and cents. I think that's the thing. It's the bottom line. If he comes out and says, "Look, don't embarrass me. Offer me something that I can go out there and I sink my teeth into this team, help some people out, get some people right, whatever it may be. Get me I'll get so many catches and I'll tip my cap on the last home game, and we'll that's how we'll ride off into the sunset."
Mm-hmm.
I think that would be very sort of, poetic, if you want to call it that. But if it doesn't and he goes somewhere else, I'd be surprised if he doesn't sort of become the guy who said, Mike Evans has got 1 catch today for 9 yards or that kind of thing. And then is that what you really want to do, is just be sort of a afterthought on maybe a playoff team? Who knows? But I don't know. I'm assuming a lot of his physical demise, which I may be totally wrong. But again, if you're going to go out and perform, whatever that may be, why would you not do it on the team that you've been with all this time and put a lot of your energy into? So,
again, legal tampering next Monday. You start talking trades. Not before then, John. Not before then. And then, of course, next Wednesday at 4, the 11th, is the official start of the league year. And within the first 10 or 15 minutes, there'll be probably about 20, 25 trades announced, which all took place within the 48 hours of the legal tampering period.
Very quickly how it all happens. It's funny how efficient all these agents and players and general managers are as far as getting these things done.
All right. Enough of that. All right. The 941 Sports Zone brought to you as always by Mighty Dog Roofing of Southwest Florida. 941-251-4257. Get that roof. If you've got a little bit of damage, you've kind of been holding off from the last couple of rough years with hurricanes, although we got through last year okay.
Mm-hmm.
But that means that could be a target again. Get it fixed. 941-251-4257. These folks do tremendous work. Mighty Dog Roofing of Southwest Florida. All right, college basketball. It's kind of a 2-step process, John.
Mm-hmm.
It's the last week of the regular season for the big conferences, but this is also the week where the little guy is in the spotlight, the one bid leagues, and there are a whole bunch of them. And
yeah, a lot of them.
Yeah, there are a lot of them, but there's a couple of teams that have made some noise in those leagues that have a decent resume. The question is, will the committee decide to let them in? The first case, obviously, is Miami of Ohio. They are now 29-0, although they had to escape Kalamazoo and Western Michigan on a layup with a second left on Friday night to win 69-67. Western Michigan's certainly not going to make any noise in the MAC. I'm not even sure they're in the tournament. They are 10-19 on the season, but the pressure's starting to get a little bit to Miami, and everybody's been talking about them. The big question is, if they somehow lose one of their last two games, and they have Toledo and Ohio U, if they somehow lose one of those next two games and don't win the MAC, do they get an at-large at 31-2, 30-2?
While I would tell you that it's absolutely 100% they should get the bid, that doesn't mean they will,
Right.
because at the conferences, the big conferences just rule the roost. They politic, they get what they want to get. Look, do I think that the 11th best team in the SEC deserves an opportunity in the tournament more than Miami of Ohio does? No, I don't. I get that you play a tougher schedule.
Despite the Miami schedule is just, I went through it the other day. John, there is no meat on that bone.
Well, you're right, and so I'll give you the eye test. Okay, I didn't watch an entire game of Miami of Ohio, but interested enough to see why they're good. Just like I was interested to see why Nebraska is good.
Mm-hmm.
They are physically challenged. They're not going to physically outdo you, but they're really good basketball team. Okay, right. They're really good.
Fundamentals.
They can shoot. They do the right thing. I think they're the kind of team. If let's say they did lose 5 or 6 games in the regular season, and they won the MAC championship to get into the tournament, there's an 11-6 upset right there. They would be but in this case, if they run the string and they're undefeated, they're going to be a 4. You know what I mean? So
maybe.
Yeah, but even with that, that's being a 4 and instead of being an 11 puts a lot more spotlight on you. And who if you're a 4, where do you play? A 13?
Yes.
Okay. That I don't know. You get the wrong 13, and that's one of those teams in the big conference that you didn't want to see right away. So I don't know. I think if they go undefeated regular season and regular season MAC champions, they should be in any 30-1 or whatever team that there is. They should be in the championship. If not, man, like they always say, it's what you're given what you play what you're given to play against. And if you win them all, there's got to be something to that. There really has, because if that's the case, the NCAA, think about the James Madisons in football,
George Mason, yep,
everybody, right? But the thing about all these teams that went and played football and got into they hold a spot for those guys, right? And they're not, it's a lot different than the college basketball. But you run the table, God, you got to make it at that point. I don't care what you do in the tournament, you got to make it.
Okay. Locally, a very good story. South Florida, they clinched at least a share of the American. They've won, I believe, 8 in a row. And they're not just beating teams; they're bludgeoning teams. They destroyed Tulane on Sunday on ESPN2, but they have 8 losses. They're going to have to win the American. I think the American's a 1-bid league this year, John. As much as it's a really nice story. I know they lost their coach a couple of years ago, Amir Abdul Rahim. Yeah. On the operating table, just a very sad story. Great story, though. Brian Hodgkin comes in. He's done a tremendous job. Listen, South Florida's on a nice little run. Alex Skolish is now the coach at Auburn. He did a tremendous job with the football team. They've had 2 consecutive really, really good basketball coaches that have taken them to the 1 seed in the American tournament 2 of the last 3 years. Say what you want. I mean, again, ACC, hello.
Right.
you should take them right out of the American right now. I mean, that conference is hurting. As we record, I'm watching Duke just destroy a 19-win NC State team. They're going to end up with the 1 seed in the ACC, and they're the number one team in the in the country. My apologies, but stories like South Florida several years ago would be great. And the bubble is so weak this year, John. But again, if they don't win the tournament, they're 23-9. Well, no, they win the last 20. They're like 25-9, something like that. That just doesn't cut the mustard when you play in a league that small. And they got off to a rough start this year too. That didn't help.
So watching USF play basketball, boy, the team that they look a lot like from an energy perspective and how they play the game is Florida, right up the road. Yeah. They look a lot like the team from Gainesville. Fun to watch. Very much about getting the other guy, making the extra pass, driving, dishing, going after rebounds, getting on the floor for the ball.
Playing fast.
Absolutely. A coach who said, I liked what he said. Okay, we got a portion of this thing right now. We're going to go get the whole thing. We don't like to share. Okay, that's kind of stuff that pumps up a 19-year-old. There's no doubt about that. Yep. Coaches telling it like it is. Going back to your idea about going South Florida, going to the ACC. Look, they're building a program right now, athletically, the entirety of it all, that is definitely ACC worthy. I think right now if you put them in the mix. And I'm talking about just in athletics as in general, they're top 6, 7 right now. If they went to the ACC right now, the football team is doing well. Look at the hires they've made have been just absolutely phenomenal.
Home runs.
The tragedy of the basketball coach gets a replacement who's doing absolutely just as well. You get Alex Golish, who comes to you and he takes off and heads up to Auburn. And you get Brian Hartline, who's been a guy that everybody's been trying to lure out of the Ohio State coaching staff for years now. He takes the USF thing. He's on every commercial down here, Richie. You can see everything for USF. Yep. He's in stuff. So they know they got a commodity in him. And you've got the brand new stadium coming around the corner very soon. And an on-campus stadium would be phenomenal. Ask UCF. That's when UCF got the on-campus stadium, it changed the narrative for them. Okay, everything changed, and the on-campus experience is probably, a lot of the bigger schools like FSU and Florida, Miami, the on-campus experience is very compartmentalized. We go to this school to do this, and we go here and do there. At UCF, there's a big mob scene around that stadium, and USF get the same kind of thing. So overall, USF basketball is looking like they deserve every minute. They should win it all in the conference, and they deserve to get there if that is the case. And could be a team to upset somebody. But overall, the athletic department has really done a wonderful job. I know the AD at USF. At least I think.
The general manager. He's the Rob.
Yeah.
Holy moly! I'm going to have to look at. I love the guy. I think he's.
He is.
He was the one that got Tampa Super Bowls.
Really good. Yes. Mm-hmm. I think he has. I think his fingerprints are all over this USF coaching staff and hiring process.
Yep, no question about it. And people out there watching the podcast going, "How could you forget?" Rob Higgins' name. How could you forget it? But hey, sometimes when the lights are on.
No, it's not even that, because the expectation of talking about Rob Higgins wasn't really there. We're talking about basketball, but you can't. How the conversation rolls is that USF sports in general has shown such a big bounce. So there's something to it. They're doing something right.
UCF is probably a tournament team. They've won 20 games in the Big 12, which is as basketball conferences go, is up there as far as the amount of teams in. Right now in the top 25, I believe the Big 10, the SEC, and the Big 12 all have 5 teams in the top 25. Mm-hmm. Several teams near the top, and USF beat Kansas earlier this year. Didn't just beat them; they beat them pretty soundly. They've got some nice. They went to BYU last week and destroyed the Cougars. They were up like 25 at halftime on the road against a really good team. So that's good. That's real good. Florida State's coming, but they're going to need to win the ACC championship. But the team on the come is the team with the trophy in the case right now.
Right.
And that's the Florida Gators. Man, they are just – I thought Arkansas would at least give them a game for a half. That game was over by the second media timeout. Florida is just playing at a level. You talked about it a couple weeks ago. Boogie Flan has just really upped his game. The guards have been so much better, and they already have an unbelievable front court. Today, they're the 5th-ranked team in the country, and a lot of people, have been poo-pooing, can they get a 1 seed? I don't think so. I think if you're the 5 and you win the SEC, you're a 1 seed.
Right.
Period. End of story.
Right. Because whoever the 4 is does not want to see them.
Right.
And I'll tell you what, right now, I think some of these teams that are ahead of Florida are going to lose. I think Florida might, if Florida can run the string out, I think they're a 1 seed. They'll be a 1 seed. Yeah. But you're right. Watching them play, diving for balls on the floor, the front court. We can't say enough about the front court, okay? Mm-hmm. Because now Condon's he's athletic for the guy his size, right?
Yep.
And he just, like I said, he'll take a bounce pass on the run and going for a dunk. God, Chinulu, he's ridiculous.
Yeah.
That guy's a lottery pick now. He has to be. Because not that the NBA is so high on defense, but they are high on guys who can rebound like he can, who have a wingspan like he does, and a guy who's got some post moves as well. His game has become a total. He's become the total player in the pivot for them.
Yeah.
And Duke now you've got guys coming off the bench. Brown, the kid Brown, hitting shots. Klobuchar, whatever how you say his name.
They're deeper than they were last year. Last year they were probably 7, maybe 8.
Right.
Deep. I think they're a little deeper this year. I think Todd Golden can actually trust his bench a little more.
I think they're 9. I think they go to 9 at this point.
Yeah.
Because you got the big kid Hangloten. He's 6.
Mm-hmm.
Then you've got Klobuchar 7, Brown 8. Who am I missing? I'm missing somebody else, but there's a 9th guy that they've got that's been getting some time. Hauk is just, he's a complete player. I don't know if his game is totally NBA ready at this point. He misses a lot of open jumpers. Not a lot, but he's streaky, and he's a guy you want to guy coming off the bench. He's a mismatch everywhere. He can play small forward if you want him to at 6'10", and he can go into the hoop. He can rebound. He's a hustler, but he can step out and shoot the 3 too. So that his game is tough. Right there. So yeah, Florida showing signs that they're going to be a real contender in this tournament coming up shortly.
And I don't think it would be the worst thing in the world for them not to win the SEC. Maybe lose in the semis. I think big conference teams could use the break. They don't need the grind. If Duke doesn't win the ACC, it's not the end of the world, in my opinion. They don't lose a 1 seed. Arizona doesn't win the Big 12. I don't think they lose. They had their 2-game losing streak. They have turned it back on again. Boy, what they did to Kansas the other night, and Peterson played the entire game, and they still killed them. And you called that one. Good call on your part. Listen, I actually, when I fill out my brackets, I like a team that maybe got beat in the semifinals. It gives them a little edge, because right now Florida's rolling, so everything just seems so easy. They're going to come up to a game where it's a 5-point game at the last media timeout, and it's like, can we close this game out?
Florida being a 1 seed last year. Remember who the 8th seed they played was last year?
That would be UConn, John.
Correct, right?
Yes.
And boy, did Florida have to struggle to get that game, because UConn had a little bit of a chip on their shoulder. They didn't think they were an 8. That they were
the defending champs, 2-time defending champs,
and they didn't submit. They got the respect. there was a call made at the end of the game that they didn't like and kind of set Florida on its way. But winning the SEC championship, I know it means a lot for the kids and for the university. Hang a banner. It's fantastic. But yeah, a loss in the SEC championship game the tournament wouldn't bother me at one bit. Come off that, be a 5, be the 15, be a high 2 or a low 1 seed, and go out there and get a little time to get your act together. You can scout the 2 probable teams. The one you're going to play, and a probable team you can kind of get you prepared for it. It's nice to get an easy ride into the Sweet 16. That gives you almost 10 days worth of time to prepare if you do it right. And I think that's no problem with that.
I believe their first and second round games in Tampa this year. I think so. So
everything about
Gators are going to end up. Yeah.
Everything about the first 2 games in the tournament, the big tournament, should have Florida in the Sweet 16.
Yeah. Speaking of 6 men, Michigan lost their 6th man, LJ Kaysen, to a torn ACL. You look at his stats and he, 8.5 points, and they don't jump off the page, but 6 men come in and they can give you 15, 20 on a given night when the offense is struggling. That could be a pretty big loss for Michigan.
I think I'm intrigued. The Big Ten, there's a lot of really good basketball teams in that conference. Stylistically, they're different in a lot of ways too.
Yes.
It's interesting to see.
Yep.
Right. And then some teams that I'll talk about a little later that were perennial powers and are lingering in sort of like this netherland of like they're there, but are they good, or how good are they? So they could make some runs. Don't be surprised if you don't see in the Big Ten 2 teams you didn't expect to be in the championship game in the Big Ten, because I think there's a number of teams going down that can get there and make a run at win the Big Ten championship.
It's funny. I heard a podcast the other night, and I think there were 5 teams that were that the host of the podcast, and I'm trying to remember who it was. Might have been Stanford Steve with the SBP podcast. He mentioned 4 or 5 Big Ten teams that could win, and the one of them he didn't mention was Michigan State.
Right, yeah.
And with all due respect, I mean, he knows more basketball than I've forgotten, but that guy Izzo can coach. Notice they went through a little lull, and then they had a really good week last week, and voila, they show up at number 8 this week. Yeah. That would be a 2 seed. There'll probably be a 3 seed, but still, you want to see Michigan State in your bracket? No,
of course not. And again, there's I think everybody is sort of, what have you done for me lately, Tom Izzo? Okay. When's the last time he was to a Final Four? Maybe it's a little further than maybe the last couple of times he went, maybe 5 years, 6 years, 7 years. But even with that being the case, you can't, a team that rebounds the way they do always has guard play that you just would kill for. Guys that are tough, team leaders, that on the court team leaders. Izzo doesn't put up on anybody's shit. He's a no nonsense guy. You cannot overlook Michigan State. You just can't.
Actually, their last Final Four was 2019. That's 7 years ago.
7 years, yeah.
But they've made a couple of Elite Eights, made some nice runs. One is a 7 seed. They're going to be a higher seed this year than they have been recently. So I've watched part, if not most of a Purdue game, an Iowa game, a Wisconsin game, a Nebraska game, and I didn't even say Michigan State. I didn't say any. I didn't say Purdue. These are all these teams are there, and the ones I just mentioned to you, they all can win the Big Ten. They all can. So, and Michigan State's the one team that you say, well, who matches up the best with the most? Michigan State matches up with everybody well because they don't give a damn what you're doing. They're going to do their stuff, and they're going to impose their will. And it's not a style when you go and you get rebounds. Right. It's not a style when you throw yourself on the floor. It's not a style when you play tough defense. That's not it.
we're not worried about how they get their points. They're going to go get their points, but their aim and the way they do things is about culture and doing things, playing hard, playing tough basketball, and having a coach who's not afraid to tell his star player to sit his ass on the bench and get his head right.
Yeah. By the way, they've got Michigan to close out the regular season.
Yeah.
In the Big Ten. Oof,
great game. That'll be a fantastic game.
Yes,
really
it will
be.
Yes, it will. So Duke's 1, Arizona's 2, Michigan's 3, UConn's 4. Florida rounds out the top 5. So, but I mean, again, it looks like it's going to be a top-heavy tournament. Remember last year, for one of the rare times, all 4 1 seeds advanced to the Final Four, which to me makes Florida's national championship even that much more. And this should be another unbelievable tournament coming up. I am so looking forward to it. All right, the 941 Sports Zone, brought to you as always by Mighty Dog Roofing of Southwest Florida, 941-251-4257. They have local owners, but they've got national backing, which really helps them deliver exceptional service, as well as, not for just private homes, but for businesses, and they go all up and down the Gulf Coast. 941-251-4257. John, we're going to talk NASCAR.
Vroom, vroom.
And we're going to talk Michael Jordan lighting NASCAR on fire. He wins in court about a month and a half ago against NASCAR. They were trying to shut him down for good, close his garage, put him out of the sport. And so what's happened the first 3 weeks? Tyler Reddick, his driver, wins Daytona Superspeedway, wins Atlanta Oval, and this week goes to Austin and wins the road race. 3 for 3. Hasn't been done. And Michael Jordan has got to be just laughing in his North Carolina home. And just, I would be calling Bill France every 5 minutes. Hey, Bill, how's it going?
Right.
This story has all kinds of irony dripping. Just an amazing job by them to stay focused. Obviously they've been in court for a long time, and they've got the car. Well, they've got the cars because the first cars in the always stays. When you win Daytona, your car stays there.
Yeah,
that car stays. Car.
Yeah, that car stays.
I mean, and of course the road car is a different car. Just a tremendous job, the folks. It's just I find this so ironic that Michael Jordan, who struggled as an owner of the Charlotte Hornets, obviously he was one of the greatest, if not the greatest players to play, but he certainly has had a checkered past in the front office. He's done a lot with NASCAR, but he hasn't seen all the wins, and now he's seeing the wins, and it's just I don't know. I'm marveling at this. I can't believe it, and I bet you they can't either.
There's a huge amount of irony in this whole thing, and Jordan. Seeing the 45 car win at Daytona was like, wow, that's a pretty big deal. Now, what was Michael Jordan famous for? Back, he had 2 3-peats as a guy. He's got his first 3-peat in NASCAR, and so these little things that are happening. I think that if NASCAR is smart, and I know that they are, they are marketing personified. They need to embrace this whole situation and try to get the most out of it for themselves. Bring a few people back to watch in NASCAR, because I know attendance is down, audiences are down a little bit.
Yes.
I think a lot of times it's because you can't find it. It's a little bit sort of displaced all over the place. I think their TV contract sucks. Yes. But the idea is they can get something out of this. Michael Jordan is still Michael Jordan. He's a member of your organization. You can talk about Mike. Mike can't tell you to shut up like he tells everybody else in his life. You're part of a bigger deal there. So talk about Mike. Talk about give me some stories about Mike. Let's hear about Mike, and let's talk to those drivers and how great a guy Mike may be, whatever they may say. Do as much as you can while you can, because the iron's only going to be so hot. We know that cars don't. It's car, driver, team, you name it.
Right.
You're going to run into a streak where you may not win another race like this for 5 years. Not a bad night on the basketball court. You may be a a good organization and they've received a checkered flag for years. So take advantage of it now and take advantage of his notoriety as you can. You know how to do it, NASCAR. You are a marketing machine.
Yeah.
Go do it.
Wonder what those post-race inspections are like. Because every car has to be inspected. I don't know.
Okay, no, I'll tell
me,
you what it's like. You think about this. Somewhere in every garage, there's the guy who's the sort of the mad scientist kind of guy. You know what I mean? Trying to find a thing like, if I can put one more so much weight in the back left rear, whatever, and are we pushing the limits? Yeah, maybe we are. So I gotta think that guy is standing there just arguing and bitching and moaning about, what are you looking at that for? It's got to be very, very interesting. It's got to be a lot of, just like frustrated human beings watching cars go through the inspection line and hoping that they didn't do anything wrong, or that something's too light, or that doesn't weigh the same as it did when it left, or whatever the things are that they do. That I'm sure must be very interesting to watch.
All right, let's move to golf.
Oof. God,
John, Shane Lowry. I know he's playing in the Cognizant, and listen, it's not a signature event. I think he was just trying to get his game back on track. He was having a bogey-free weekend. He was 3 shots up with 3 to play, and did the right thing in both cases. Went iron, and absolutely hit his irons as bad as me. I mean, those 2 shots that found water, John. You're the golf guy. You're a better golf guy than I am. You know the game. I mean, I'm still. I watch the replays and I go, really? I mean, was there that much pressure on it? I mean, he missed. He didn't just miss by an inch or 2. He missed by a ton.
If you're golfing and you hit a shot, let's say I won't call it I'll call it a shank, or maybe hit something off the toe, and it's like, where'd that come from? The next shot, or the next, whatever, if it's not a putt or whatever, or recovery shot, the next shot, there's doubt in your head.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes enough's like, well, I tried to hit a fade. Maybe I shouldn't have done that. Maybe I should try to hit, maybe just play something down the fairway without trying to turn the ball. Let's do this. And sometimes the next one is worse because now you're trying too hard. I think that's what happened to Shane Lowry.
Overcompensating, you mean?
Absolutely. You hit the one. You did no way you expected it to happen. How did I do it? You try to shake yourself of it. You go to 17, and that was an outright shank. That was almost in the gallery.
That's me. That is me on the freaking tee. That's me.
He should have yelled 4, which he didn't. But they would have been looking where they'd be looking at up in the grandstand, not on the lake on the other side of the hole. So Lowry, guy like him, always, I'll give you just a little insight. Every year I have certain tournaments for certain guys. Okay. Mm-hmm. So Shane Lowry always plays well in Palm Beach. Yes. Always does.
What is this?
And 11, for years and years and years, I would say, now it's not even a look. Plug it in, Shane Lowry. I got my pick in. I'm done. Well, I think he's become a much better golfer than he was over the last 4 or 5 years. Winning the Open Championship like he did. Now he's a contender. He was a stud in Ryder Cup this year. And so I didn't use Shane Lowry because I'm like, I'm going to have Shane Lowry around later on in the year for some of these bigger tournaments. I think he's a guy who could win in Jacksonville. I think he's a guy who can win another major. So I want to keep him in the mix. So I didn't start him in there. I look at him like, why I didn't start Shane Lowry. It's been a layup every year. But he's always struggled to finish real well. And again, the bear trap got him. And unfortunately, handled like a pro. He's a super nice guy.
Yes, I will say that. He did not duck. He answered the questions. It's funny. I've heard a couple of shows today where they're like, why couldn't he do that in the Ryder Cup? I mean, he's nails in the Ryder Cup. Nails.
And so in this case, I think that you watch certain golf tournaments, And I think Lowry probably plays 1 through 15 probably very well. But that bear trap coming in there, there's 2 long par 3s over water.
Mm-hmm.
You've got some very sticky little shots to hit. And for pros, I mean, they don't care. The carry is 175 to carry the water. They'll hit at 176 and they're good to go. Even the winner, Echeverria, on 17 did not hit the right, didn't flush it, and the ball was headed for the water, and it barely carried, and it gave him an uphill. The putt you would up hit away, away from the water. He sinks the birdie and goes up 2 on Lowry after Lowry goes down 1 or whatever else it is, and is able to play safely on 18 and win the tournament. Mm-hmm. But Lowry will be okay from this. He's got that sort of that Northern Ireland. Those guys are tough breed. I'm sure he tipped a couple of whatever his favorite frosty drink is, and maybe got a good laugh out of it the next day. But I think he'll be back and be fine there for the rest of the year.
Now, here's an interesting thing I heard earlier today. The Florida swing is probably going to lose a tournament, and it's either going to be this tournament, which used to be a signature event. Right. Then they lost. It used to be the Honda. They lost Honda as a sponsor. But, where this event is located in West Palm Beach, there's about 40 guys that don't even have to get a hotel room.
Right.
Because they live in Jupiter. They live in, they. So the thought is it's either going to be this or the Valspar.
Right.
Is probably going to go by the wayside because of the way they're going to restructure everything. And actually, what I heard today was we could find out about this in the next week to 10 days. I mean, this is something that is in the final stages of being talked about. And obviously the folks in Tampa, everywhere you look, the Valspars, they're running ads and they're doing they did their media day. Rondé Barber, I guess, is like
he's their ambassador for them.
Yeah, ambassador. Yeah. Thank you. That's good. Yeah. Good word. Your thoughts? I mean, and again, the Valspar, again, you can go, well, there's a whole bunch of guys that live in Orlando, and that's about equidistant, to the Valspar. One of these really good tournaments is going to probably not have a home.
What's the main thing for these tournaments? Money.
Right.
Who's making the most money? Okay. So I don't know. I've heard some things about the charitable side of things from what Nicholas does over there. Remember, Jack Nicholas's name's on that golf course.
That's correct.
Too. So you got money and you got a name. You're not getting a lot of sponsor. The sponsorship thing has been a little shaky. It was for a couple of years as well at Valspar, but Valspar is taking over, and they're a solid deal. But I knew a couple of years ago it was still a little shaky with some of their advertising. The course in Palm Beach Gardens is got the bear trap. Hey, Valspar's got the snake pit. The course is a really tough regular course in Palm Beach Gardens when the weather kicks up a little bit, but Valspar always plays tough. Matter of fact, when they were getting their due years ago to get back in and having a tournament in Tampa again, they talked about if the PGA was played earlier, which now it is, they thought that they could turn Copperhead into a PGA major championship level golf course. So that they were saying that. So golf courses go maybe hand in hand. I think maybe Valspar's got a better title sponsor, but you got Jack Nicklaus and you got the Palm Beach guys down there. Money is no object whatsoever. I could see something, Rich, where maybe they take turns year to year going back and forth. Something like that might happen. But also there's, Florida's a tough place to get a tournament going after, like we all say, after June 1st, it's kind of hard to get to get it not play in the rain or have that be a significant part of it. Maybe one of those two tournaments, maybe Valspar gets kicked to the other side when they play that Disney tournament for the father and the son deal and everything else. Maybe they before they go, maybe when they get back from somewhere, they can play that silly season tournament over there in Tampa. If I'm a betting man, Tampa loses to Palm Beach in this situation. Just too much attached to Jack Nicklaus, too much attached to the charity work, too much attached to the outright dollars and cents in the community. I will say this to you though, I never see big crowds down at the Cognizant. They don't seem like they get those big crowds.
Huge crowds. Yes.
Valspar gets good crowds. They rarely do. And the course, have you been to Innisbrook before?
I have not. Okay,
so it's not what you would expect it to be in regards to a Florida kind of course. It's hilly, very hilly. It's cut through the woods, so it's not your golf course where you see where they scrape the earth and then they put a golf course up and they put trees around everything. There it's like you're cut through all those all those sort of naturalness of there, but it also lends itself to the course being not in great shape sometimes in March because you got all the leaves that dropped and all that stuff that makes the rough sort of get kind of gnarled up a little bit. But it's a hard golf course. It really is, especially when it's being ready for a PGA tournament. It challenges the heck out of you. So with all that, I lean towards Valspar because I obviously like to go. It's not your normal golf course. Watch all the other tournaments in Florida. Watch all of them. Jacksonville TPC is a little bit different, but you watch all the rest of them. They're all carved out into these communities. It's like playing in locally. The community course, but houses are right there. You don't get that at Valspar. It's a golf course. So it lends itself to more people, more parking, however you want to put it. That's kind of does it. But we'll see. I think if there's a choice to be made, it's going to be hard to beat out the Palm Beach guys.
Well, we should be hearing something, like I said, in the next little bit. A couple more things before we get to our locks of the week and what's bugging me. Tampa Bay Lightning, it was inevitable. They were on an unbelievable run, 21-1 in their previous 22, including a big win over the Maple Leafs. First night back, even though John Cooper was away, his dad passed away. Coops had a rough couple week and a half. Lose the gold medal game in Canada, and then lose your dad. And they were, from what I understand, very, very close. He missed both the Maple Leafs game, and then he missed the loss in Carolina. Lightning fell down 3-0, came roaring back, got it to 4-4, but then a power play goal in the third period by Sebastian Aho, and Carolina wins 5-4. You can almost see this coming. Buffalo played the night before in Florida, ended up winning over a very desperate Panthers team 3-2. They've been playing unbelievable. Believe it or not, since early December. Not the Lightning with the best record, Buffalo Sabres with the best record in the NHL, and they just took out the whooping stick. 4-0 after one. Was never a game. 6-2 the final. Sabres are in second place. Yeah. I talked to my buddy Sal Capaccio.
Yeah.
Mr. Buffalo Bills, and they've got the fever up there. They've got the fever. It's been a long time since they've been in the playoffs, and it certainly looks like, barring an absolute collapse, and they had a couple of really good Olympians. Tage Thompson really played well in the Olympics. Yeah. Really, really played well, and he's taken it right back over here and has played extremely well. They've got all kinds of Alex Took is a really good player. 6-2, and maybe that gives the Lightning a little slap in the face.
Sure.
Little reality check. Losing a couple of games. Vasilevsky hadn't lost since December 20th as well.
Well, Cooper came back after that game, and he had to put on his coaching big boy pants pretty quick. Yep. Because he had to dress that team down a little bit and say he said they should have scored 10 on us. We were lucky they didn't score 10 on us. He didn't come back and say, hey, made no excuses. He said, if we do this and take what we've done and throw it in the garbage and can play like this, he goes, what a tragedy that would be, and I get it. I get that. So I trust John Cooper will get everybody right.
Yep.
I trust that there's enough firepower. looking at this team more and more ever since the Olympics were over with, boy, they got 3 lines and a 4th line that can do some business. They did a really good job in a very short window doing a rebuild on this team. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
And it started with, and I'm sorry to say it, but it started with getting rid of Steven Stamkos. And so you're not nothing. Okay, he's doing okay where he's at. More power to him. They'll hang a banner for him in the arena. But it was the right thing to do because it kind of got a reboot on everybody. I think it gave more life to Kucherov myself.
Yes. Oh my goodness, has he been unbelievable?
Yeah, I think he's saw the leadership role go on to himself and motivated him. And I think that's been a big difference as well. Braden Point plays like a lunatic. These are just guys that just name guys, but you got all guys all up and down on 3 lines that are just really, really good.
And they're finally starting to get healthy. Point came back after the Olympics. He's played pretty well. Anthony Cirelli is expected back this week. That's going to be big for this team as they get whole once again. But certainly, they certainly got a little bit of a wake-up call by a very good Buffalo Sabres team. One more thing before we get to our locks of the week. A little tragedy, unfortunately, in college football. Colorado backup quarterback Dominique Ponder killed in a 1-vehicle accident in Boulder County early Sunday morning. Reports say he was driving his 2023 Tesla at a high rate of speed when he lost control. He was pronounced dead at the scene. The team, hearing the news on Sunday, had an emergency meeting, and they decided to practice because that's what Dom would have wanted. Just 23 years old. Again, life is so fleeting. You just, one minute you're on top of the world, and wow, the next minute it's just unbelievable.
In that part of the country, Rich, any kind of speeding, if you want to, whatever it ends up being, it's not a safe situation. I'm heading out there in another probably 12 days to Denver in that area, and it's just. It's a different kind of driving, and these kids are coming from I think he's a Florida kid, if I'm not mistaken, too. Ponder might be, but where he might have his hometown might be Florida, and somewhere in Florida. But you better know what you're doing. You better be really careful. 2 hands on the wheel. You got to watch out for all kinds of things, and this is what happens in those situations. You got to be real careful.
So Deion Sanders, not only we're going to test his coaching, we're going to test his ability to keep the team together, but the team as a unit, honoring him by practicing on Monday, which was the first day, by the way, of spring practice.
Sure,
first day of spring as well, at least meteorologically, anyway.
Yes.
So, all right, locks of the week. I'm rolling. I feel great. I told you Missouri was going to give Tennessee a tussle. They won outright. They needed the game. That's one of those teams on that incredibly weak bubble. They got the job done as a 4.5-point favorite. And then I was like, all right, I'm going to wait for Missoni in Arizona against Kansas. Wow. I watched a lot of that game. But Arizona, when Arizona plays their best, I tell you what, I want to see Arizona play their best either against Duke and or Michigan. They can bring it, and they certainly did against Kansas. Peterson, not be damned, he played the entire game, and they still got boat raced in that game. So, John, you are just 16-7.
Yes,
locks of the week. I'm 14-9. I should be feeling really good, and I'm getting a nosebleed looking up at you, John. I mean, come on.
Well, I'm taking a little bit of I wouldn't call it a risk. At least I don't think it's a risk. I think it's looking at it from a good perspective. We're going to keep it real simple. I'm going to stay with college basketball because right now it's kind of hard to, NHL's getting their back on their feet right now. Most of the stuff in pro football is it's silly season with all the trading and combining.
But the UFL starts soon. Can't wait for our UFL
NBA, update. I have the hardest time looking at games and saying what you're going to get. You just don't know. So I just so with college basketball, I think emotions are involved. I think it's not just it's a lot goes into it. So with that, I'm going to take UCLA over Nebraska
Ooh.
this week. I think it's a Wednesday night game, if I'm not mistaken.
Ooh.
Tomorrow, Wednesday night game. But I'm taking UCLA over Nebraska.
Nebraska's kind of leveled out.
And I told you in the Big Ten, I thought there's a team there or two that people are forgetting about that they're in the Big Ten. Okay, UCLA's they got a decent year going for them. They got some good players. Their coach is they got a good coach. He's been around for a while. He's a good coach, Mick Cronin, right? That's who we're talking about. And so I just like the fact that they're going out. Nebraska's going out to LA to play UCLA. Looked into it a little bit. UCLA has only lost one game all year at home, and that's so home game, a little bit on the line. This might secure them a place as far as making it and not large in the NCAA. Nebraska, don't know if they've cooled off a lot since their 16-17-0 start, whatever it was.
4-4 in their last 8, John.
Right. So I think that this is where UCLA can kind of pounce. And if you're Nebraska, you're playing in Pauley Pavilion. It's a big deal. It's you watch that. You sometimes look. You can, for me especially, put a basketball game on. Don't tell me the team's on. Show me the court. That's one of the places that stands out.
Yep.
They haven't changed the motif of that court ever, and they never should. But when you see it, you know it. It's like you can see Cameron Indoor Stadium. So they put out, that where Duke's playing. Carolina, they changed it out a little bit, but UCLA for sure. When you see that court, it's them. So give me UCLA over Nebraska and see if we can go 17-7.
It's kind of funny you brought up Duke in North Carolina, because that's where I'm going. And revenge is a dish best served cold.
Yes. Who punched you in the head?
Except Cameron Indoor Stadium with 9,000 people in it is like a hot box.
Right.
Because there is no AC.
Right.
So, North Carolina won the first game on a 3-point shot at the buzzer. There was the controversy after the game with some of the Duke coaches getting accosted allegedly by some of the North Carolina fans. Duke is playing much better basketball now, playing at a level that they won Monday night by 30 over North Carolina State. Just killed them from start to finish. And I have a funny feeling this game has been circled since the trip 8 miles up the road to Chapel Hill earlier in January. I'll take Duke. I don't care what the spread is. I think Duke beats North Carolina on Saturday night.
It's a statement game, and they're a better team. But I'll say this to you. We'll talk about this, Rich, real quick. Top 4 teams in the country, that I think are the top 4 teams in the country, are going out and whipping some ass.
Yes, they're
not playing around. Duke, obviously, Arizona, Florida, UConn.
Oh, you don't have Michigan in there.
I'm taking Michigan out of it right now.
Wow. They're whipping teams too. So
I do think Michigan's good, but I think that those 4 teams right now, I think they're on a real mission. And I told you the Big Ten championship. I can name 7 or 8 teams that have a realistic chance of winning, and I don't think that's the case with everybody. Those other 3 teams or 4 teams I'm talking about. I think it's a boat race for Connecticut. I think Duke will take care of their business, and so will Florida and Arizona. I think they're there as well. Like you said, when they're playing their best, they're hard to beat. But those 4 teams right now have separated themselves from their conferences and from the rest of the country right now. Those 4.
Friday night, St. John's built a house. At Gamble Pavilion at UConn. They played on campus, which was shocking to me.
Right.
I don't know if you heard about that game. It was 72-40. UConn. St. John's made their last basket, John, with 17:59 left in the game. They missed their final 24 shots.
Yeah.
24.
Well, like I said,
That's incredible. And when UConn turns it up defensively, like you said, they can be elite.
Right. And I think that what I noticed, their first title run, was it 3 years ago now, with Hurley, that's what they did. They turned it on, and you're like, this is different. It had a whole different feel to it. They are, based on his coaching style, they've built themselves up to be this juggernaut when they need to be, kind of thing. Yep. They get the big game. They get what that was talk about a statement, because St. John's, Rick Pitino's got the great job.
Beat him the first time. Yeah.
Right. Great job with St. John's, but that was not going to happen again. That was just not going to happen again.
Yeah. All right. We're to our final segment. What's bugging me? I know you've been working on yours. We talked a little earlier, so I'm going to let you. On the tee box. Go
real quick. Just I want to. This is like a little pre thing before I have my meaty one here. Olympics are over. I think the hockey teams have gotten what they deserved in regards to all the flowers they got and everything else. A little tired of the fact that we're still talking about who's going to the White House and who's not going to the White House and all that stuff, whatever it may be. Hockey folks are a little different. They don't have egos like a lot of other people do. They are a different breed, and we're trying to turn them into sort of like arguing with each other. I think it's bullshit. I can't stand the prodding on that thing. And a little bit of that bothered me, because I thought that the most engaging Olympian in the entire Olympics was Alyssa Liu. Now I thought it was Liu. Now they're saying today on the Today Show it's Liu. Okay, what I thought about it was how bizarre figure skating can be. That she was a 13-year-old national champion many years ago. Fell out of love with the competition, which you can understand at 16 years old. Right. Quits everything. Could have been like the bad story you see about all the kids on the Disney Channel, right? Oh, great. They're this, but now they're drug addicts. Now they're this. Now they live in a box under a bridge, whatever it may be. It's all this different stuff. Comes back and is absolutely as genuinely nice as you've ever seen anybody in a competition. Goes out there and says, it doesn't bother me if I fall 8 times. I'm here to do the best. And if that's my best on night, I'm good. That attitude should be studied for the next 50 years to figure out how you can get people to figure out just to relax, and how much better you do when you are relaxed. So I just thought there was a little bit of something I wanted to bring up that she got sort of overlooked. Now, real quick, here's the other part of it. The combine. I get it. I understand it. Okay. It's like that football. This is what they want to see, what they're buying, so to speak. It's like a cattle call. It's like bring out the horses. Let's see what kind of hindquarters they got, and let me see their where they came from. Let me see mom and dad. How big are they? How fast are they? Whatever it may be. But the problem I have with the rich is that you get some guys go out there and just blow doors on these skills that they practice. Okay, and it becomes the combine overreach. I've been mentioning it to you. I'm like, I don't want to hear the Jets are interested in looking at Ty Simpson. Okay, now I'm hearing Nussmeier from LSU was the second best quarterback at the combine. That makes him the 15th best quarterback that could come out. He's not. The guys that didn't come out, the guys that are still there, are better than these guys. Why do we have to freaking fall in love with somebody? If you look at the film, you'll see what's going on. It's simple. I mentioned earlier, our guy ran the 4.36, the quarterback, Green from Arkansas, right?
Yep.
Show me a guy. So let me. You know what I want to see? I want to see him hit a 10-yard out and put that ball right here in the guy's arm when he's catching it. Not here, not down here. I want to see it there, because that's what it matters. I want to see him throw to the second window, and when he's got somebody coming at him and do it. Not that he can run 4.3, okay, and not that he looks good or he had a great interview. I don't want to hear that shit. I'm tired of it. And it's like, and how many times you hear it, and these guys end up like, he's going to go here. It's a big jump up for the guy. And what does he do? He has 1.5 sacks in 3 years, and he's looking for he has one good game, and he wants to get another contract.
Yeah.
Watch film. Go see how they played when they played games. See how they shedded blocks off of blocks. They just don't do that stuff. So this combine thing, I get it. It's a TV show now. It's everybody wants to be the general manager of a football team, and they want to pick this guy while you want to see your favorite college player make it. Don't overreach. If your team fell in love with Nussmeier or fell in love with Ty Simpson, go watch them play the game on film before you tell me that shuttle run meant something, because it doesn't. Doesn't mean shit. Stop doing that stuff. I get it. I get it. People watch it. I watch it as well. But don't fall in love with a player because he ran fast.
I couldn't agree with you more. That's why I didn't watch a damn second.
Yeah, there you go.
Because you know what? Yeah, it's great that Tyler Green was able to do all that stuff. Who's he being compared to? Anthony Richardson. What's Anthony Richardson going to be doing 3 years? Probably bagging groceries.
Yeah, it's over. I mean, his
51% completion percentage. This isn't 1969. This isn't Joe Namath. This isn't Doug Williams in 79. Where he completed 54 or 5% of his passes and was being lauded. You don't that doesn't work anymore. Not in today.
I'll give you something that people will think is controversial. Lamar Jackson's a really good quarterback. He's an MVP quarterback.
2 times.
But they lose because he doesn't throw consistently and from the pocket in pressure situations.
Correct.
That's how you win. That's what you win with. And John Harbaugh, he's up in New York now, right? I think he's a damn good coach. Why is he not in Baltimore anymore? It might be because he lost the battle of whether or not Lamar was the guy or not. And Lamar won. Again, all good. They're great players and their teams are successful. But we're talking about next level type stuff.
Yeah, what kind of success? What is successful, John?
Right. A lot of yardage built up. You're the best
second round exits in the playoffs. So if they haven't even made it.
6, right. And that's my point with Josh Allen in a lot of ways too.
Mm-hmm.
All the big plays that they show at his highlight reel is him running the ball in the end zone. You're the damn quarterback. It's always the same thing. He threw for 1, ran for 2, did this, waved to the crowd, whatever else he did. But sometimes those guys it's a different deal. You've got to be able to do certain things that are not that kind of stuff.
All right. I got a couple of ways I could go, and I could have probably waited till next week for this one, but I did mention earlier that this is a pretty fun week because the small conference tournaments get underway, and 95% of these leagues are one bid leagues. And while I understand they don't get the quad 1 wins, they win 26, 27, 28 games, but they listen, they try to play the big boys, and the big boys are like, hell no. What do we get out of that?
Right.
We either beat you by 30 or, what's wrong with them? That's that kind of thing. So it's kind of a catch-22. And I think for the last several years now, any team that is decent, that's not decent, that's very, very good in their league, that's 29-4 or 27-3 or what have you, they don't even get considered.
Right.
And I don't need to see the 10th best team in the Big Ten play the 7th best team in the SEC in a 7-10 game. I want to see some of these small schools. I want to see, I want to see Miami. I think Miami has to be in. It's an unbelievable story. They're in March and they're undefeated. Unless they lose their last 3 games in a row, they've got to be in. And yet, and you're supposed to be watching these games. It's very similar to college football. There's too much subjective, in my opinion. Way too much subjective. So I'm tired of, the brackets come out and and I'm going to pick on a couple of schools, and if it's your school, I apologize, but Vanderbilt's going to play Northwestern.
Right.
Do I really want to see that?
No. You wouldn't watch it in the regular season.
Right, exactly. That's my point.
Why is the marquee matchup going to be a game I wouldn't watch?
I want to see a 12 or a 13 or even a 14 that won a small conference going up against maybe the fifth best team in the Big Ten or the fifth best team in the Big 12. I want to see it. I want to see it. I want to see the chance of the upset. I think in the end, you'll still get all your big matches. By the time you get to the Elite Eight, only the big boys will be left. I think NIL has kind of clinched that.
Sure.
That it's now the best team that money can buy. But give me the first weekend. I want the first weekend. I was in Tampa back in 2009 when all the 12s and 13s beat all the 4s and 5s. 4 games, 4 games. The lower seed won every single game. Every one of them. And it was awesome.
Right.
Absolutely awesome. Did they go much further? A lot of them didn't even make it to the second weekend.
Right.
Or they got to the second weekend and they got drilled in the Sweet 16.
But the tournament was built on the little guy beating the big guy.
Yes.
Okay? Because that's why it was so much fun to watch. The underdog being able to throw a buzzer beater up and win a game. You know what I mean? You wanted to see those kind of scenarios played out in basketball. One of the few sports in college basketball, not just but in college basketball, you can go 2 for 15 from 3 in a game, and you're clearly the better team from the bigger conference, and lose because the other team didn't go to. They shot 12 for 19, and they had their day. And they won the game. It wasn't a referee call. It wasn't a holding penalty. In basketball, it comes down to like, hey, we got a chance. It's not a given that a guy's going to shoot 60% from the field, and it's not a given that the other team is going to play as bad as they're going to play down to them. It's fun to watch those games.
Yes.
It's fun to see that stuff sort of happening and raveling. Those games. All you're waiting for Thursday and Friday of the first weekend is to see what game am I going to switch over to.
Yep.
Greatest thing is having that little box up in where I'll put it right. Little box right up here that's got all the scores that are going on right now.
Yep.
Like on TBS, on TNT. Like, I'm going to that game. Boing, and you go over, and there you are. And you're right in the moment of it.
Yep.
Unbelievable coverage, and you must hit a little guy. You definitely do.
All right, there's what's bugging me. There's what's bugging you. And there is episode number 28 of the 941 Sports Zone. This time next week, we're going to have teams that are already in. A lot of the little guys again.
Punch their ticket.
Yep, they punch their ticket. Yep, and that's one of the most overused phrases over the next 2 weeks. They punch their ticket. But
that might be somebody's middle name next week. We'll see.
Gee, I wonder who that is. All right. So that'll do it. We've got Arnie's tournament in golf coming up.
Yes. Love the place. It's a really good golf course. I got to play that golf course years ago. A lot of fun. And it's an invitational, so it's not a big field. And a lot of the guys like playing because
it's a signature event before the players.
Right.
You want to build a little momentum heading up to Northeast Florida. You really
no doubt about it. No doubt about it. Hardest finishing hole in golf.
Yeah.
It's cool. It's intimidating too.
Yep. So looking forward to that. Can Tyler Reddick keep it going in NASCAR? It's almost laughable. Can the Lightning get things turned around? We'll talk about that. The NFL year about to begin. Legal tampering will be underway. We'll be getting all kinds of rumors, and we'll have it for you all right here on the 941 Sports Zone. Like and subscribe. Tell your friends about it. We're on Facebook. We're on X, the artist formerly known as Twitter. We're on Instagram. We're on YouTube. Spread the word. For John, I have March Madness, Missoni. I'm Spitz. I've got March Madness as well. And until next week, so long, everybody.